It's Steve Sayers from Future Lab. Martin, you've spoken very eloquently about digital literacy as a kind of individual skill to access the truth in the digital world. Looking at the flip side of that, there's the digital legibility of the world that we're creating. And I wonder if you have any view on who's responsible for ensuring that legibility. Should it be governments regulating the digital world, or should it be producers that are taking responsibility to make the place legible for these digital
So define legible for me.
It's being able to distinguish between the adverts and the content, between the truth and the unreality. There's a responsibility there because the digital world seems to be more and more blurred between what's real and what's not, and what's factual and what's not.
I don't think you'll like my answer, because I think my answer has to be we've got to give people the skills to be able to make their mind up themselves. I'll give you just one example of that, right, in sort of the real world outside of education. My wife is a news junkie. And so she would wake up every day in America because, forgive me for those watching this on YouTube, but American news services aren't very good. And so every morning she would check the Sydney Morning Herald, she would check the New York Times, and she would check the BBC in the UK. And she would read to me the way the same story was told through 3 different news services. And then over breakfast, we'd try to make sense of what the truth was. I don't know that the web has changed that. What it's done is it's actually opened us up to a lot more conflicting opinions, and the skill that we need to learn now is how to make sense of those conflicting opinions. And I think the role of higher education, actually education at all levels, but particularly higher education, it's always been about teaching people how to approach the world in different ways. I think higher education now needs to step up to help people approach the world in the world that we live in, which is we have to make up our minds about what is truth and what is not, because there isn't going to be a trusted source to do that for us.
What you're doing here is making the link which was apparent to me from the very beginning as soon as your subject came to mind, between digital literacy and media literacy. And I'm not sure whether digital literacy is a branch of media literacy or media literacy is a branch of digital literacy. I think they're intertwined, aren't they? And unless you are acquiring the ability to make critical judgments of the content, then the medium is almost irrelevant. And I took that as being a crux of what you were saying earlier on.